Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
Buy a car for a purpose. A lot of our people buy cars so that Cappuccino can see. But a lot of German cars do this. A lot of German manufacturers do this. They have something called the poverty spec. So this is where you get a car with a lot of buttons that are not working. Look, the lesser knowledgeable you are, the better in this industry.
The better for them.
Yeah, the better for them.
Not all bad.
Yeah. You cannot go scotch free. You cannot go without being hammered there.
No.
But looking at your statements, you can't afford this car.
How na nyoko fa.
How only sharp.
Escape to the luxurious Meropa Hotel in Polokwane and immerse yourself in a world of Moroccan-inspired grandeur. With 54 standard rooms and 4 luxurious suites, our hotel offers affordable accommodation options tailored to suit your needs. Whether planning a conference or seeking a weekend escape, our hotel provides the perfect setting for your next adventure. For bookings, email sunmeropahotel@suninternational.com or call our hotel reception on 015-290-5400.
Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
My name is DJ Cappuccino, Fortune Maswangani, Mhlali, Jingindaba wa Mkhatshane, Mkhatshane wa Holeni, Holeni wa Mashango, Mashango wa Mpatsi, Mpatsi wa N'waxihoxani, Mpatsi wa Nkhandlana, Nkhandlana wa xitlhelo xa xikaya xa le ndleleni xa ku khwenyuta vahundzi va ndlela va ku rhandza ku tlanga hi ku tovana. Holeni gape ke Tebogo, ke ngwana wa Mmatladi wa Pula ya Marole, ke nna setlogolo sa Bakgatla ba Mosetla wa Magana le Kgomo. Ba re ha e namele setlhare a e je boreko ke mo setlaong.
Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
Welcome to another episode of Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino. On today's episode, we're thrilled to have a special guest who knows the ins and outs of the automotive world like no other. Whether you are in the market for a dream car or just curious about the trends shaping the future of the industry, you are in for a treat. Our guest is a seasoned car salesperson, a motor industry expert with years of experience helping customers to find the perfect ride, navigating the evolving landscape of all types of vehicles and staying ahead of the industry. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Tumelo Moyaba, who will take us behind the scenes of the car sales world and share invaluable insights to the motor industry. Utlo re botsa how to buy a car, how not to buy a car, when to buy a car, bao betaning, tlhokomela what, bao nokile. Yo, I just had a chat with him earlier on and I realized, but anyway, welcome to Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino, Mr. Tumelo.
Yeah, thank you, brother, for the amazing introduction.
Sure.
But yeah, we are here to debunk a lot of mysteries that happen in this industry. It's a beautiful industry, by the way, that everyone in their lifetime should participate in. In fact, everyone wishes to participate in this thing. So it is always great that we enlighten each other, more especially our people.
How did you get in this space, man? How was it something you always wanted to do? Was it something that came in because you're a marketer, you're a salesperson, and then you thought this is the direction I'm taking?
Not even. I wasn't looking for the industry. I bumped into it because my profession has always been a marketer. And then I joined the industry as that. So I was recruited into one of the dealerships in town to say, I don't know if I can mention brands. When they were establishing a marketing department, they needed someone who knows and understands the province and what works in the province. And that's how I got into the industry. And once I was there, I was exposed to how do you even build a convincing deal to a customer? How do you entice a customer to buy from you? And that's how I learned. That's how I started figuring out what happens behind closed doors in this industry.
Okay. I would love you to give an overview
Yeah.
of the motor industry. How has the motor industry evolved in the past decade? What are some of the biggest challenges currently facing in the automotive industry?
Yeah.
And also, consumer demands
Yeah.
and preference change. I'm just opening this thing for you so that you can, touch on these things. And somebody must listen to this and say, now I have a clear picture of what's going on.
Yeah. So one thing that there has been a lot of great progress in the industry, more especially for consumers. There's a lot of legislation that changed. There's a lot of, we have seen over the years, government starting to fight for the people, like Consumer Commission. We have the Ombudsman who is actively fighting for our people. But while there was that great change that was happening, now the dealership network has to find new ways to exist. So if you think about it, back in the day, let's say maybe in the 80s, 90s, there were very few black people that had cars, who were participants in car vehicle financing. And then as time went, they became more and more accessible. Then look at it now, it's very easy for someone to get vehicle finance for as long as you meet the minimum criteria, for as long as you've got, you have employment, you get paid over 7,500, you have a valid driver's license, you can get vehicle finance. As long as you've got good credit, you can get vehicle finance. So this has been some of the good things that happened in the industry. However, the industry needed to be creative in how do we keep people in it. So say, for example, you are looking for a Polo GTI, for example, which is what a lot of young people love, but you do not necessarily qualify for it financially. So what do we do then? Back in the day, it would be a straight up decline. But then now the network had to come up with ways like to introduce what is known as a balloon or a residual payment, introduce longer term. I mean, back in the day, you knew a goloi patelo 5 years. Now the basic payment term is 72 months. You get 84 months. You get 92 months of payment. I know of a bank that actually allows people to pay for a vehicle over 100 months. So you can see that all of these things is just the industry trying to make sure that they get more people coming in. The biggest blow which happened recently has been COVID. So when COVID came, it changed a lot of the landscape because a lot of people who had good credit profiles before COVID, after COVID, all of that changed because a lot of people got laid off. So now what happens, the banks started seeing a lot of declines. So now they had to readjust that. A lot of people started getting declines.
Defaulting on payments.
They started defaulting on payments. Yeah. So how do we make sure that Cappuccino still comes into this? Because remember, it doesn't help the financial sector if you don't participate in it. If you are going to stay out of it because financially you're not doing well, let's say, for example, you got a 25% knock on your salary, just because of that, it means you can't buy that car that you want. So how do we make sure that you still get the car that you want and still continue to be a participant in the industry? Because we need that money.
Corey, what you're saying is like you are a wounded animal. So now they design a package that suits a wounded animal. They know that you are not okay financially, but they want your money.
No, instead of allowing you to leave the race, we give you crashes and say you will participate in this way. So we still allow you to participate.
You don't qualify for this race.
But we can make a plan.
They just bandage you.
We can put a bandage there.
Yeah.
No, you can get this thing, man. Let's put a balloon to it.
And they know that at the finish line, you are going to suffer. You would have injured yourself a lot. And you wouldn't want to go to that race ever again.
No, you will always come back. Like I said, everyone wants to be in this industry. Everyone wants a car. That is the bottom line. It is every young person's dream to say, when I grow up, I'm going to buy a car. A car of what shape? That's where it differs. But all of us, when we grow up, we want a car. A car is not just it's not just a status symbol. It's a necessity. Everyone needs to be mobile. So the industry has to. Everyone becomes a golden goose. Even those that think they know this industry, you could never outsmart the people in the game. So you are exposed as a person. The fact that you dream of having a car, you become the perfect target for us to always make sure that we keep you in this thing. Have you pay a car for 72 months, and once you are done, we introduce you a newer version and say that one is no longer functional. Take this one, and then another 72-month cycle continues.
They keep you there.
We are kept. You need to stay in the industry because that's where the banks, the dealers, we get to make our living out of that.
Have you apologized to the people you make sign such deals?
Well,
before you started to be the advocate, because I think some are still in the system now, trapped.
No, some are still in the system. I think if anything, I've never had an opportunity to apologize to anyone.
I want you to look at this Capera and apologize to them because they have problems
No.
because of you.
Oh yeah, as a salesperson, I know. I would stand here and extend an apology to everyone who got trapped by the system.
Yeah.
But it was for everyone's good. It's a beautiful problem to have.
Yeah, we're trying to survive. I understand.
Yes, it's a beautiful problem to have.
Yeah.
It answered a necessary question to the client at the time.
And some you have helped them. They got the cars to take their children to school.
Exactly.
And they needed a car, and you had to make a plan.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, like I said, a car is a necessity. It's not something it's not a want. Everyone deserves to have a car. Everyone should participate. It's just a matter of how do we get you there safely. And that is the line where I exist to say, let me show you if there is a way to get there safely. Let me soften the landing. So that is where people need to understand. And all of this, you get to know if there is a softer landing if you have information. And if there's one thing a lot of people don't do is to invest in information. Investing in knowing how the processes how the game you're about to start playing works will help you. Because a lot of people come into this industry without even trying to understand how does this industry work? How do I even get to participate in this thing? Next thing you find yourself in, you've got a car sitting at home, and then when you think you are done paying for the car, the bank calls and they say, when are you starting to pay the balloon? When are you bringing the balloon lump sum that you promised us? And at that time, you don't even know you have a balloon.
Believe me, I've been a victim of a balloon. Also been a victim of a person who defaults. I also know the calls when they say we are looking for the car.
Oh, yes.
I've experienced it all. But I want us to now drive it to consumers. What should consumers look at when they're buying a car? Especially the new ones, Here's a new guy in business doing well. Things are flowing. Here's this graduate who's now working somewhere. What is it should one look at when buying a car?
So the basic thing I tell people is always consider budget and stick to it. Always consider how much can you pay that is not going to, and it will still allow you to have a normal life. A lot of people struggle through university. A lot of our people come from poor backgrounds. And the very first thing that you're going to invest in is a 700,000 BMW. It makes no sense why you would want to put yourself in that position. And there's a lot of people that don't even have a proper place to stay, but they're driving in a 1 million rand car Because now cars are at that level where even the cars that you thought were cheap, now they cross the millions, the millions price tag. So if you are going to expose yourself to that thing, it becomes sort of a questionable decision. So the first thing you need to consider is budget. Can I really honestly afford this? And one thing that I always advise people, because you qualify for a car does not mean you afford the car. Qualifying for a car and affording the car is two separate things. A lot of people fall for the trap of, Mr. Moyaba, you're looking for a car, you qualify for a car for $1 million, but can I really afford a 20,000 installment every month? So that's where the crunch comes to. But if you were to be honest with your income to say, I get paid 10,000, it means I can only spend 2,000.
You qualify for a 1.7 month car.
So you need to be able to be honest with your budget. Number two, buy a car for a purpose. A lot of our people buy cars so that Cappuccino can see, not so that I can do what I want with the car. Now she would know or I have arrived.
I will make sure go
Forgetting that for the 72 months where you are going to be sitting, you will only be looking at the steering wheel. That's all you see. All those whistles and bells that you paid for, we are not going to be looking at those things. You are not going to be seeing those things. All of those things are going to, you are doing them so that the next person can see.
And are you also implying that we buy cars with features we don't need and we pay for those features?
Oh, definitely.
Heavily.
Definitely. Or remember, I'll give you an example with VW, right?
Are you sure you want to mention brands?
Yes, if it's safe, if it's not against
I'm just scared for your life.
Your policy. But a lot of German cars do this. A lot of German manufacturers do this. They have something called the poverty spec. So this is where you get a car with a lot of buttons that are not working.
Or where they put those you can't press, but
you can't press.
You can see that there's something that's supposed.
There's a button that's supposed to be.
It's poverty one.
So that is the base models of any car, and this is when advertising comes in. We say get a car from 4,999, right? But we know for a fact that when you come to the dealer, we will not like the 4,999 car. You are most likely going to get the 9,999 car, because now on the 9,999 car, the buttons are working. So all of those features that you pay for, most of them you don't need, because that is over and above the functionality of the car. And that's where people fall in. I mean, I'll give you this as an example, right? In South Africa, we are the biggest consumers of the Golf GTI.
Yeah.
Not the Golf TSI. Because to us, the Golf TSI, which is the cheaper version, it does not get us enough street cred. There is a lot of people that don't buy the normal BMW 118, 1 Series.
My Polo is a TSI.
You drive a Polo.
Tota.
Yeah, of course, because there is a Polo GTI. Why are you not driving that one? You are Cappuccino. Why are you driving the cheaper version of it? There is Polo R-Line. Why are you not driving that one? You know? So all of those people would rather buy the 1 Series M Sport because it looks flashy. But that looks flashy has just costed you 150,000. Is it worth a price to pay? But we're not there. If you can afford it, go for it.
In all honesty, I mean, what's the purpose of sunroof?
If you can afford it, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful,
hey.
But sunroof.
And it will get you the street cred. Hey, the girls will know that you are driving a nice car. But when it's all said and done, is it worth the 100,000? Because here's another thing that a lot of people don't know. The sunroof, the fact that your car has a sunroof and 18-inch wheels does not change its trade value. So when you trade back the car,
It's still on that bracket, yeah, the standard price.
it trades the same as the standard car, because all of those things don't matter when you trade in your car. Yes, the sunroof doesn't matter. The LED lights, the xenon lights, all of those things don't matter.
They can evaluate it the same with that one.
It gets evaluated the same as the base model, because that's what it is. All of those bells and whistles that you just added, those were just for your convenience. They are not going to help your car in any way when you decide, I don't want this car, I want to upgrade now to a Range Rover. So when we trade in, someone walks in with a Polo TSI, someone comes in with a Polo R-Line, a Polo GTI, So the book says base model. It does not say, when you are, more especially, even worse on the where you get the spec. Again, for example, we know BMW, we've got the M cars, right, which is the sport versions. So if you got the M Sport, because remember M Sport is just the cosmetic. It does not affect the engine in any way. If it's just the cosmetic pack that you got, it's not going to help you when trade-in comes. If you got the let's say the R-Line package, it does not affect your trade-in price in any way. The car is going to be evaluated the same as the.
You just have heated seat for what?
All of those things were for your convenience. And the reasoning behind it is, what if the person we're going to sell this car to doesn't want the heated seats? What then?
Who uses the heated seats? For what? You'll sleep.
We only have snow once in 20 years in South Africa. So how is that going to help you? So those are some of the things that people don't consider when buying. But ultimately, if it's something that you can afford and it does not impact your livelihood, I warn people in business, more especially those that are saying my business is doing well. A lot of our people do business because you are in tenders. Tenders are coming, and then 3 years down the line, you got a 3-year contract. 3 years down the line, the contract ends. You still have the car, and then you can't afford it anymore. So what's going to happen? So now you've got problems.
The story of Polokwane.
Yeah, you've got a lot of,
I've seen them.
You
They've seen us.
You were driving a big machine.
Yeah.
Now you can't afford it. And here's another thing that a lot of people don't know. In this industry, you can only upgrade. You can't downgrade. You can't go down. If you come today and you take a contract for, let's say, a car that sells for R1 million, and years later, 2 years down the line, you realize this thing is no longer practical. I need to get a car that is worth 300,000. You can't, unfortunately, unless if you're going to be able to pay the lump sum difference. And the shortfall is usually big. So it means you're going to suffer with that car until it gets repossessed. That is the reality of a lot of people. We have seen people driving big cars. Next thing, the car is repossessed. Now you can't even buy a cheap car that you were supposed to start with.
You're messed up. Because I remember before COVID, I decided I don't need some cars. And also I was predicting that one will actually have problems. And I remember also paying a lot of money just to get rid of my car.
You have to.
A certain car that I had to pay. But then I calculated that, how many months I would have actually paid the installment of the car that I drive 2 or 3 times a month, just to go there, and that's it. And that comes to, I don't think we take very good decisions, especially buying cars, no matter how we love them and they're so beautiful. But I think we still need education. And it comes from also even our, self-esteem. We feel like a car must complete and make you a man that you should be. And I think because of a car, we have actually regressed. But I want us to get into this. Here's a contract presented
Yeah.
to you.
Oh, yes.
They present the contract to you, and I don't know why they like presenting the contract when they've wrapped the car with a ribbon and they put biltong and champagne for you. And
Yeah.
you are coming there with your social media person with that thing. What do you call that thing of holding a
yes,
phone?
the Barki gimbal.
Yeah, whatever it is. And
Photographer is real.
yeah, and they put the table where you sign a contract, you can still see the ribbon there while they are wiping for you.
Yeah.
And for some reason, somebody saying, no, care. Oh,
Eh.
what do you look at there?
So contracts are tricky, and I'm going to show you something. A lot of dealers would not, back in the day, but if there are still dealers that do it today, they would not allow you to sit in the FNI office with someone else. You can't take me, for example.
FNI, what's that?
So FNI is the usually the beautiful lady that helps you complete the contract.
Yeah.
It's finance and insurance. These are finance and insurance
Okay.
people. They are the ones that speak to the bank on
There's
your behalf.
always a beautiful lady there.
Yes, that one. It's very. Dealers don't allow you to go into that office with someone else, even if it's a family
Oh, you must go alone there.
member. There you go.
No one must say, "Mchomi emanyana."
Because they know this is the finish line. So if you put a signature next to the X, this thing is done.
They're mooring you there.
No, this thing is done. So
And
this
I
is where you
noticed
are.
something. After you sign, that beautiful lady disappears with your file.
Oh, she's done.
She's done.
No, her work is done. Now you deal with the salespeople. It's a celebration. But we also want that. But what I wanted to show you is that when we do the contract arena, more especially our people, one, the dealership, and this is now, I don't know if it's part of their training, they would not send you the contract to see it before you come and sign, like any other contract. If me and you are about to go into contract,
Can't I take it to my legal representative?
why can't you?
Financial advisor, can't I?
Why can't you? But many a times is because there are things that you might be able to see there that are going to make you start raising questions. The issue of interest rate, which is another problem on its own, is discussed in length in the contract. The issue of value-added products. So when they tell you about, the jargon used is VAPs. So VAPs stands for value-added products.
So a person should look for interest rates, the value-added product thingy.
Interest rates, value-added products, balloon, and also make sure that you carefully look at the payment term and the inception,
term.
Yeah, payment term, and when do you start paying. So this becomes very important for you going in. So how it works is, so for interest rate, for example, the interest rate now we have seen in recent years where I get clients that say, Tumelo, I started paying off this car at 4,000 and now I'm at 6,000. So
what happened?
it's because when you were signing, it was there clearly marked that you are taking this contract on a linked rate. And at the time, the prime lending rate was below 10. You signed, and then it went up. Yari 10, rara, it won't go further than this. And then it went up, yari 11, rara, it won't go further than this. So while all of that is happening, your installment is also going up. Is your salary going up? It's not. So it means now the things that you used to afford, you can't afford anymore. But all of these things were presented in the contract. So, and then the other thing is the value-added products. So the dealership is going to say, my brother, when that lady is looking you inside the eyes,
That lady is beautiful.
you're going to say yes to a lot of things. They're going to ask you, do you want tire and rim protection? Yes. Do you want paint protection? Yes. All of those things that you are saying yes to, they add 100 and 200, 300 to your installment. So what you thought a car that you thought you were buying for 4,000 rand a month You're going to leave that office happy with a big smile on your face, paying for that car 4,800. Just from you saying a couple of yeses. So all of those things you signed for. So if these things were communicated, or you were able to take someone who is knowledgeable about the product into that office, chances are you are going to come out without some of those things. Here's the other thing. We buy, on your contract, you find that there is things that you bought, right, that are offered as part of your package with your insurance. So you pay for two things. You pay for the same product twice, because the insurance has it, and also you are paying for it as part as part of the package in the car. So those are some of the things that, look, the less knowledgeable you are, the better in this industry.
The better for them.
Yeah, the better for them.
Not bad.
Yeah. You cannot go scotch free. You cannot go without being hammered there.
No, they hammer even us who think are learned. They've
fact,
been dealing with us.
In fact, those ones become the perfect target because they are understanding. If you think you know, you've got less knowledge. The fact of the matter is, if me and you were to discuss podcasting now, you would draw circles with me.
Yeah. I'll tell you, no, the vibration of that mic, it's in circular form. That's why when you sit, you must, I can run over.
I'm telling you, the same thing when it happens when you come into my world. When you step in here and I have to convince you to sign a contract, believe me, you will walk out with a beautiful smile. You'll be looking forward to our next deal, while I know very well what I did. So that is where people need to be enlightened. People need to be given the information. I always say to my customers, let me give you enough information so that when you hear misinformation, you are able to immediately pick up. If it means that me telling you that, Cappuccino, looking at your statements, you can't afford this car. How only sharp back. If it means losing you as a client, and believe me, I've lost a lot because I told them this. And then next week you show me your beautiful car and I'm going to congratulate you.
Oh, then they come and show you, I got it somewhere.
Yeah, I got it somewhere.
And you were like,
I will congratulate.
Let's talk in 3 years, Baba.
I know it's done. You are stuck with this thing for the next 72 months. So I will congratulate you and wait for your call because I know it's coming. Matagola won't rob you. No one robbed you. I gave you information. You did not want it. So you go to someone who was interested in you taking this deal. A lot of people this is second time, third time buyers. They come with the pre-made up ideas of how things should work. I've heard people say, I told the bank how much rate to give me. Where? Which bank?
Who did you speak to? Which bank manager did you engage?
You know? So these are people that they think they know.
Oh, but I told her.
Yeah.
Now I told him prime rate
I told
minus.
I want prime. Hey, Mrena. What you think you got as the best deal?
It's what you were.
Chances are, and these chances are very high, this is what you got as a minimum. So I'll tell you something more especially about the lady I was talking about, the FNI. The FNI send your application to the bank and already tells the bank how much rate they must give you, even before the application starts. It's what is called requested rate.
And I think while we're still on that, I remember there was a scandal with West Bank and the rates, interest rates, and enabled by the dealers. If you can, you might as well also touch on that.
So West Bank on that case, they became the face of what is already happening in the dealerships. So what I mean by they became the face is many a times you are profiled at the dealership. When you arrive, the salesperson has already assessed. First, the salesperson has already assessed how much do you know about the industry, right? And then the FNI comes with the application. Then the FNI says, because this guy doesn't know much.
With makeup.
So we've received an application from Mr. Shibambu. Chances are Mr. Shibambu doesn't know much about how interest rates work. So then the FNI is going to say to the bank, I request prime plus 3. Right? So prime plus 3 means already right now the prime is at 11.5. It means that by default, the approval, when it comes back from all the banks, it's going to be saying they are approving you at 14.5. This was not decided by the bank. This was decided by the FNI. A Mr. Van Skyke comes in, and chances are Mr. Van Skyke did his homework. Then the FNI says, I request prime minus.
Whenever better, Dr.
Whenever
Dr. Mabut.
Yeah, whenever
Better, Dr. Mabut.
and they will show you flames.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. There is a Barking Bank A at the doctor. Yes, I'll remember the name. This bank, they only help with financing doctors and engineers, right? Professionals. All their clients get prime minus 2. So prime minus 2 means interest rate 11.5. Their clients get 9.5.
Yeah.
I'm paying for the same Mercedes-Benz C200. I am paying 15,000, and this guy is already paying 11,000 on the same car.
Is it investment bank?
It's an investment bank, Investec.
Investec.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
They like when they pay, they always stretch their hands. You know that card.
so that you can see the card.
Yeah, I know a certain doctor who I work with here. He has that card.
So they get those
But
benefits.
I know that card. Yeah.
So they get those benefits, but those benefits is because their banker handles their finance application.
Oh. Before
They pay less.
God, the dealership does not go and negotiate for you.
No.
You know your banker who understands the finance goes then say, not with my client.
They the ones who handle this. And believe me, you could be buying your 10th car. If you don't know how the FNI operates, you will always be blacksamed. It's fact. It's a fact. So West Bank became face of this thing that is already happening, where you were profiled while still at the dealership because of the tone of your pigmentation. You were too dark. Chances are you don't know much. Prime plus.
Yeah.
And then you negotiate from there. So and here's the thing: if the salesperson or the FNI present to you and say, you got approved, we are going to be paying 15.5. I'll give that as an example. 15.5 interest rate. And you say, no, this is too much. And then they say, no, let me make calls, come back to you and say, you are going to be paying 14.5. What are the chances you're going to
And
decline
besides
that?
do you know how many times we buy cars, we never even ask or get told at what rate are we buying?
You don't
cars?
You don't ask.
We given these things to sign reliability reborn.
No, but sign here.
Yeah.
There's an X already on the contract.
There's an X. They put the X for you. They're not saying go through this.
Sign here, sign here, sign here.
I actually even feel so stupid as a person who would think is educated, that I have signed this many a times without even asking the interest rates.
Oh, our people, and you are not alone. Our people feel like umudiechi favor or they are approved. And it's not. This is something that is rightfully yours. This is how good your credit profile is. That's why the bank thinks it will be viable for them to do business with you. So a lot of us, A lot of our people feel like umudiechi favor. That's why they don't ask a lot of these things. So I'll give you an example. I've had a client come to me and we did the finance application. They got approved, right? They got approved at 19%. And at this time, I think the prime lending rate was still at 10. They got approved at 19.5. And I said to them, point blank, let's stop this deal. We will continue this maybe in a month or two.
Go and improve something.
Go
on your
improve
profile.
something, then we'll look at this thing
Yeah.
again. Did they not come back to me 2 weeks later with a car? Right? They came back to me
To show you.
Yeah, 2 weeks later that he bought a car elsewhere. Hey, Marina, how did you get this thing right? Right? So he took that rate, that 19% rate at the time, and you find or you took this rate at linked. If you took it at linked when prime lending was still 10, it means when prime lending goes up, the installment goes up as well. You were already beaten.
Problems.
You were already beaten with your original deal. You come back. Now the Barking Reserve Bank says they're increasing lending rate. Then now you are in crisis. But these are decisions that you took. A lot of us suffer because of the decisions that we made ourselves. And many times we were excited when we were making those decisions. More especially when it comes to cars. A lot of people drive cars that they don't afford. You can barely make it. You know what debit order then dilodia sharagan. But you are willing to go ahead with that. So it becomes a tricky thing. So you need to understand, you need to have a full understanding of interest rates. How do they work? How is this thing going to affect me? Fixed rate, linked rate. Which one is which? You need to understand that. And then you need to understand the implications after that. Because there will always be implications. Always. So if you fully understand this and fully understand how do we get to this? Because remember, this thing is a process, Cappuccino. It did not just start with you walking into the dealership. It started with you skipping 2-3 payments from Jet. You borrowing, airtime advance from Vodacom and not paying them. All of those things were contributing to you the day you cut. Yeah, true. All of those things were contributing to you buying your car. So when it comes, now they say your interest rate is high because you are high risk. You forget that these things happened back there, not when I entered the dealership.
That's why you advise your client to let's go fix this thing.
Let's fix this thing
so that we can get a good rate.
Before we can this thing, you don't fix rate at the dealership. You fix rate out there before you get to the dealership.
Consumer behavior.
You need to have a proper consumer behavior, then you will be able to get good rates. If you mix the two, then you're going to have a lot of problems. There are people who would ask me, yeah, but I don't owe a lot of money. Why are they declining? How do you expect the bank to trust that you will pay them 7,000 a month when you owe through it's 3,000 for the last 6 months?
Your way.
You've for the last 6 months you've been struggling to pay your 3,000 areas on your TrueWords account for the last 6 months, but you are saying to the bank, "I'll give you 7,000 every month." From where? Your behavior does not suggest that you will be able to. So those are some of the things that people need to look at, more especially when they come and say we want to participate in the market of buying cars. So the dealerships are doing their bit in making sure that you pay a bit more, but the majority of it is from you. The example of the Investec people, most of them have bankers that will advise them, people that will look at their accounts and say, your profile does not look good. You need to pay attention to this and that.
Go fix this.
Let's
Let's give it another 3-4 months.
Majority of us don't have that. So your credit profile was already damaged.
When I get in November, you want a December car.
Now we're going into that space.
Yeah.
You will see our people sign those contracts.
I want us
it's
to,
time to go to
come
yeah.
to this once. You'll hear where they tell you that you'll start paying your installment next year,
Yeah.
April.
Yes.
Get your car now. But also, I want you to explain this concept of balloon payment in full and its advantages and disadvantages. If there are advantages,
Yeah.
please also get into that.
Okay. Let me first start with this one. The balloon one, I love that question.
Yeah.
I'll go into detail with it. This one of saying, take your car now and start paying in now we're nearing November, so you'll start paying in January
March.
or come March.
Yeah.
So the first thing you need to ask yourself is who's paying
Those months.
those months, because someone has to pay. Remember, the bank is not in the business of losing money. And the moment you walk out of a dealership, right, with your brand new car, the bank that's why a lot of our people say, yeah, Kulela, I'm going to take it back to the dealership. The moment you drive out of the dealership with that car, it does no longer belong to the dealership. It belongs to the bank. Because the day you drove out, the bank wired the total invoice to the dealership. So dealership said, we want 300,000 for this car. The moment when you drove
But
out,
repeat it,
no, those guys got their money. It's between you and the bank now. So when you are saying, I'm going to take this car back to the dealership, which dealership? That car does not belong to the dealership. It belongs to the bank. So the bank is not in the business of losing money. Let's go back to that one. So if you are saying, we take this car today and you'll start paying in 3
March,
months.
yeah.
Right? So it means someone already paid for that 3 months.
Kima, who loves you that much?
Who loves you that much? That 3 months installments has already accumulated interest. The 3 months that you are not paying. Many a times you will see this on the contract. If you say it's a 72 months contract, if we say you'll start paying in 3 months, you will see that your contract is going to say 75 months. It's just that our people don't get to see this because we don't read the contract. You will see that payment term says now 75 months. It has added the 3 months. The 3 months you are not paying now are added already onto the contract because the bank is not losing money. No one in this whole equation, the only
nobody gave you free 3 months.
No, there's no such thing as free 3 months. You can't say, I get about 3 months. You can't say, I'll drive this car for 3 months and then I'll take it back before I start paying. It won't happen. It's because your payment is already factored into your contract. This is just delayed pain, but the pain is coming. So in that 3 months, just be rest assured. If you can, already start paying them. The moment they say, here's just start paying them if you can. But the fact of the matter is, you are going to pay that. It's not free lunch. There's no such thing as free lunch. Let's go to the issue of balloon. Sometimes it's called the residual. Other banks call it residual. So this thing, simply put, says, Cappuccino, you cannot afford the car that you want. So because you can't afford the car that you want, I'll give so that we run properly with numbers. Let's say the car that you want is 100,000, but you can't afford it. So we will take 30,000 and set it aside so that you can buy the car that you actually afford. You can pay at the rate you actually afford, which is actually 70,000. You can afford a 70,000 rand car, but you want a 100,000 car. So what we'll do is we'll give you the same car, and then for the first 72 months, you'll be servicing the 70,000. When you are done, then we'll come back and sit with you and you will tell us, do you want to give us the 30,000 now, or do you want to give it to us in months?
So every time I thought I have connections, but I'm feeling residual.
No, it's not a favor.
I don't qualify.
You don't qualify. You're buying a car that you don't qualify. So and the stigma around it is, if you ask an uncle who's at home now and say, hey, pare kichia balloon, the uncle is probably going to say, hey, don't even look at that thing. It's because back in the day, balloon was automatically wanted as a lump sum. So they would say you pay for 72 months and then for 71 months, and on month 72 you must bring the 3,000 you are paying plus the lump sum. Otherwise, we are taking our car. That is what was happening. So now, then it came to say, no, let's break this thing down to say you can still refinance the 30,000.
That's why ukre motho ba re o rata Audi ne.
Yeah.
O rata Audi o go change o di change.
Yeah. No.
Ba tshwere ba ona go ya.
You are in the system. You are already in the system. So what Balloon does is be able to give you a car that you don't necessarily afford at the price that you can afford. So people go into that thing. There are advantages. The advantage of it is it helps you not to pay a lot of money. I always advise first-time car buyers, because chances are the car that you're going to buy as your first is definitely not going to be, you're not going to pay it until you are done. So if you can make any save, please do. Because opatla goloi, installment of 4,000, for example, that car you're going to also need to pay 1,200 insurance, right? So if you can make a save on the 4,000 and actually pay 3,000, please take that option, because 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, the car is no longer viable for you. The family has grown. You need to get a bigger SUV, but that Polo you are still paying. So now you figure, let me go trade it. So when you are trading it in, the balloon payment is already factored into it. So it's no longer your problem necessarily. It's going to be part of the trade process. So rather take a car with that 30% balloon. I know there are banks now that can offer you like 45% balloon. I think it's a bit extreme, but at 30%, I think it's still doable. Take that, save on the money, and then drive the car for the required duration. Many a times, the duration for you to own that car, it's about 3 years, 6 months, right? If you drive a car with balloon, 3 years, 6 months, in that time, it's going to reach what is called a point of equilibrium, where what you owe the bank and what the value of the car is, they are exactly the same amount. So you can be able to exit the car or the contract without having to pay any shortfall. So I would always say vouch for it in that sense. However, sometimes if it wasn't because of pressure, I would say rather opt for a car that you can actually afford. You don't have to go for a car that will have to put in balloon so that you can afford, when you could just downgrade. There is no point. There is no glorification in you driving around Mukasi or Tamaga M4 when you should actually be driving a 1 Series. Just drive a 1 Series in peace.
And I'm just thinking, as you are explaining, Ore, it could be suitable. Maybe, for instance, I'm buying vehicles based on business.
Yes.
I want them to do business. I think if you get a residual value on them, maybe it can make more sense, because at least they'll be generating something. And at that particular time, if you have the discipline enough, you could be having the balloon or be able to actually get newer ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also the other thing that a lot of people ask is, can you service the balloon while you are paying the main contract? And you can. So if you have the discipline, so all of these things, they go back to the issue of discipline.
And the means.
And the means, of course. So if you are able to say, save up, remember, once that balloon value is there, it means you don't have pressure to pay for it. So you can pay for it as and when. If you're doing business with this car, you can always service the balloon as and when the money becomes available. So you take the balloon, be disciplined enough to say, when you've got a bit of extra, pay that money to the bank, call the bank and say, I've paid you more, I've paid you extra, take that money and allocate it to the balloon. So that in the space of the 72 months, while you are still battling with this principal debt, at least we know that the balloon is also serviced. so that you don't get surprised. Because a lot of people, I can tell you, a lot of people struggle with that lump sum there. So most of them always end up in refinancing the balloon. And refinancing the balloon is a whole new application, by the way. So you can be declined.
Also.
Yes, you can be declined for that balloon payment as in installments. Meaning what they're gonna say, no, we can't help you with that. You need to pay for it now, or we're going to send our people to fetch that car. Because ultimately it's their car. So and
That's why they always have the third key.
oh, they always make sure that the papers are in their name until you have paid them all the money. Then we can part ways.
And that on its own, I think it's something that should ring a bell in terms of our psyche around cars. That the papers are with them in their name,
Yeah.
and they have the third key. It's
not your car until you are done paying for it. So until you are done paying for it, that car will always reflect. I don't know if people have actually taken time to look at their niches. Just get a copy of niches. You will see it, or go to take your VIN number to the traffic department. It will show this: vehicle owner, West Bank; vehicle user, Tumelo Moyaba. So you are the user. I'm just the custodian of West Bank's property. So we just need to keep that in mind somewhere. Or this car that you have now, it's not yours. Actually, if you think about it, vehicle financing is a long-term lease. This is a long-term.
Literally.
It's long-term lease agreement, because that is the long and short of it. So until you are done paying and you have paid up the balloon, it's only then they will give you the notice and say you can now go change it into your names. But before then, this is not your car. They can get it. They can take it anytime.
Let's deal with this. There's issue here paying deposit. No, they'll come and say, no, for your finance to be approved, you need to pay the deposit, which most of the time you even pay, you pay in the dealership account.
Yeah.
That's why you pay the money. And you can see that this deposit is not even featuring anywhere in your contract.
Yeah.
Well, what's happening there?
Okay, so
What are things that you should look out for?
So how it works is, when you are paying the deposit, so there is price that the dealership wants. The dealership says, here's the car. We are selling this car for 100,000. Then we make an application. Then when we make the application, the bank says, no, Cappuccino does not qualify for 100,000.
Yeah.
We can only give him 80.
Oh.
So now they're gonna say, okay, this is approved, subject to
Deposit.
to 20,000 deposit. Then you must take the 20,000 and give it to the dealership so that they can offset it from the price. Meaning now they are no longer selling. Remember, they're selling this car to the bank, not necessarily you. So they are now selling this car for 80,000 to the bank because you already gave them the 20. That's why the 20,000 usually does not show anywhere. It does not feature anywhere in your financing. It's because to the bank, what the bank knows is between 80,000.
Or car financing works like this. You go to the dealership.
Yeah.
You want this beautiful car.
Yes.
They take that car, sell it to the bank.
Yes.
The bank owns it. Then they give it to you to drive it. While paying for it for those years or whichever months.
Yeah.
And when you don't pay, the owners come and collect their car. Yes.
So it's like this. It's like you want this mic, right? You want the mic.
It's paid cash.
You want to use
we bought it cash.
Oh yeah, I'm just using it as
There's no balloon payment.
So because you want this mic
Yeah.
and you want to use it now,
Yeah.
you don't have the money for it.
Owners may.
But doctor has the money for this. So what he does is he will buy this mic and give it to you. Then when you pay him for the money he spent. So he bought, but this ultimately this is his mic until you finish giving him what is due to him.
Yeah. And
so
you can come here one day, you find them, my God.
it's his. It's ultimately it's his mic. I've heard people say, yeah, nah, those guys about repossessor, if they come and take my car, I will report them to the police. And say what? And say the owner of the car.
No, they'll say whose car?
Whose car?
Whose car are you talking about?
Yeah. No, the owner of the car came and took the car. that is the ultimate truth. But we don't want to face that reality. It's a painful reality. No, this is my car and I'm paying for it. Yeah, you're paying for it. You have borrowed this car from upside.
I know the pain of a car being repossessed.
It's a painful thing.
In my case, it was not even with me. It was being driven by someone else. And then now I would evade.
Yeah.
I would evade them. I knew that I think they can't repossess your car after 5 or 6 evening. I knew some rules, Nyan.
Yeah.
And I would see some dodgy people near my place and make a U-turn. So, and I gave it to someone. That was a long time ago. And the person bamukrites were. Alamunat, give me to get ice, drinks, and to collect some people somewhere.
Yeah.
Hey, they removed them from the car, those people. It was painful.
And remember, because they are the owners of the car, they will always they have the right. When you are buying a car, they will say to you, send us confirmation of insurance cover, a COC, before you can drive off the dealership.
Yeah.
But insurance themselves are going to ask you who is the financing house, right? When you are talking to them on the phone, one of the questions they're going to ask you is who's the financing house, and then you tell them it's West Bank. So this means that West Bank has the power to call them and say, Tracker, where is my car at this very moment? The tracker that you are paying for, Tracker would also ask you who's the financing house, and then you'd have to declare it's West Bank. Then West Bank can call Tracker and say, Tracker, where is our unit at this very moment? Remember, you are paying for it. Then Tracker has to disclose to West Bank, or no, the car is currently driving up Marshall Street. The car is currently parked at Tumelo Moyaba, for example.
At Coffee.
It is currently parked at Coffee Savannah. It's their unit. Then when you'll just see those guys show up. If you evade long enough,
at Slache,
you will see them at Slache. when you get there, when they get there, and then you'll find people near your car and say, "No, we're here for."
And they have a key.
No, they don't have a key. There's no key. You will give them the one you are using.
No, if you want to come up with problems.
No, those guys, they can use force if they need to. Yeah, they can use force if it means it gets to that difficult. They can get a tow truck to come and lift that car.
Ane Brafan May, Salva Mukrea Kopitori, on a Friday.
Yeah.
Apaka dilo tsae man. Dinto go tsaya, bia dinto go tsaya, lokela di batho. The guy come, you know what he said to them?
Yeah.
Bras bar la bona. Ke na le plan. A lokela khula box le lena la bona, e tlang ka Monday. La bona.
Kula box ya batla o fa yona.
But I think they got to understand right ke le fen petrol le tla boa ka Monday la bona me hute se dia vaya iso.
I think it's the beauty of it. It's those guys that actually do the reposition.
They understand.
They work almost like my traffic. If you are arrogant, they will also show you.
And I think the reason they took it from the guy, I've been evading them for a long time. So never quite have I won about na ke no bona 7 missed calls. Ke tsora phone ke re mona o ke ne rule bilo ba kre ile bana bale. Ara ke na le bona bana bale. Di biru di kreile ya ke di kreile. Mara rena le problem. Smogo No, demands are no, koloi ba tloetse. I want to zamalo ba polite. Ba tlo tseya koloi bjang bjano.
Yeah.
No, ba re ba tlo tseya koloi, o ka re ke ba bank fee. Ke ra ba hafa mara ba tloele ba tloele. I want. I can't know the car is gone. But I want us to also deal with this thing here, the trade-ins.
Yes.
What is it that we should look at? Because I think we lose money there.
A lot.
And we desperate on trading in, getting a deal for another car. And that's where the dealerships benefit. Because you'll see your car, ke bone ebile recently man, some reputable dealership that we know about dealer ka certain brand. Mara ho feta o kry-a koloi tsa different brands, di pakile mo ntle mo. You
Yeah.
can see where they took it from someone got 300,000, but now it's 640.
Yes. So trade-ins, and this is something that people need to look at. We get excited. You say, I'm driving this quid now, right? And then you got approved for a A class. You are so excited about the A class that you don't care what
So
happens to the quid. So that's where the dealerships knock you. A lot of people go into the dealers without even knowing what is the actual
Value of their car.
of the car.
And it's ba postile le bone la motšhini mo
Yeah,
Facebook.
Lamchini, we were expecting.
On a poster, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
Mara o beile le bone, ra le bone le bone le ke la A class.
God did. You know that status. And
Thanking God for a debt of West Bank.
so when that process happens, a lot of people take their car into the dealership and say, I'm trading it in, right? Then the dealership looks at it and say, first, there's two conditions. You find you are trading it in and you don't owe the car.
Yeah.
This is the golden goose
That's what.
for the dealership. This is a beautiful
They're
deal.
happy there.
Because in this instance, you don't owe anyone anything on this car.
Yeah.
Even if they say your car that is worth 300,000, if they say this car we will give you 150 for this
Re
car,
tsaya ka
you will
120,
take it.
ro fa motšhini ono.
You will take it.
Yeah.
Why? Because you are excited about the new car coming. So you come in, they go around the car and they say, no, we'll pay 120 for this car. You're like, hey, take it. And then they even say, you can even use this 100 as a deposit. Hey, give me my new car keys. And then off you go.
Ba o better ka mo le ka mo bjano.
Yeah, but you didn't do any homework when. It gets, so that is like a very straightforward process. You bring it in, then if you want the 100K, they can give you the 100K, and then off you go with your new car. And then the challenge comes in if you are still paying for the car, and there's a difference that needs to be paid. So you come in with your car, then they evaluate the car, but you have already approved ribbon gela blomilera with that biltong platter and a champagne, right? And then they say, okay, cool. What's going to happen is you owe the bank 200,000 currently, and we are going to buy your car for 150. So this 50,000 shortfall, we are going to take it and add it onto your new vehicle.
O tlo e patela.
The bank is not in the business of losing money. So what the dealership would do is the dealership will take the 150 that they promised you and 50,000 of their money and pay it to West Bank so that West Bank can release ownership to the dealer. But then when you have to now carry the new invoice.
Calculator ya dlala bana.
Yeah, calculator ya bereka da. Now you have to now start, if the car you were going to buy was 300,000, now it's going to be 350,000 because there was that, because there was that 50,000 that was added. So that's what happens. A lot of people, because of the excitement of the new car, we don't look at what is happening to the old car. But there is a lot of math that's happening there, because many a times the money that you get offered by the dealership, you can get a better deal next door. The challenge is having, and you know, there is this thing, buy a car, buy this car and get 30,000 cash back. that is something that you could also use it to your advantage. Take that car to someone who can offer you better, right? And take the 30,000 cash back that they are offering there and pay it as a shortfall to the car. So you have already exited the car. Because remember, this is just your money. It's just a matter of which pocket am I putting it in. But ultimately, this is your money. In all of these transactions, where there's the client, the salesperson, the dealership, and the bank, the money that is keeping this machine rotating, all of it comes from the pocket of the client. You are the one who is financing this whole operation. So you need to be very careful, because all of these people that are around you are looking to make some money out of you. So it is now your responsibility to be extra vigilant.
Everyone when you commission. They are not your friends, these people.
No, all of those people are looking for a commission. And it even gets worse, where sometimes the commission gets paid between the people. So if I convince you to take the bank's deal or a bad deal from the bank will give me commission for that. So you must be aware that this transaction is fueled by you spending money. So if you can, bring in someone who knows.
God, what I'm getting from what you've been saying, salespeople are not your friends. They are your enemies.
No, they're not your friends.
Secondly, don't be too excited.
You know what people
Don't be too excited.
People arrive at the dealership. As a jodula. Aria, can 150,000 deposit. What can you give me?
Offer dealer, offer the ideas before we be like, you don't want to smile.
Himana, from there, the tracker you were going to pay, 1,000 for. You're going to pay 2,000 for that thing. I got 150 to spend. The working this thing, this tinted glass, smash and grab.
Yeah.
The smash and grab you were going to pay 1,500 for. You're going to pay 5,000
Yeah,
for that thing. It's because you've got money to spend. You just literally said, here's an open check. Let's use it. And everyone, believe me, is gonna go for it. So you need to be aware of where the money comes from and where the money is going. Ultimately, it's your money that is financing the whole operation. Everyone who is there smiling to you is smiling because they are about to get money from you.
I'm thinking right now, if I were to give a philosophy around buying a car, I would say, don't buy a car you need to drive tomorrow.
Yeah.
You'll have problems. Buy a car that maybe you have intention of driving it 2 months or 3 months from, because when you go there, you can easily say, I don't want to pay the deposit. Go and negotiate with the bank.
Yeah.
When you have a better deal.
I have seen people that bought a car because they were going to a wedding tomorrow. Literally. Yeah. They are going to a wedding tomorrow. So
family in your V class.
Rena, who are going to come with advices, you're going to lose that deal. This person is not here for your advice. They are going to a wedding.
In KZN.
In KZN, and they must see that that person who does not mind sitting at the dealership from 8 in the morning until 5.
I've seen such people.
Yeah, I'm going to a wedding tomorrow. So now tell me, where is the space of negotiating there? Where is the space of applying your mind? Because you already have a purpose that's happening tomorrow for this car. And that is where a lot of people get it wrong. I think that philosophy is proper. Don't buy a car that you're going to need to use tomorrow. There's already so much pressure. And the other thing is, we are in Polokwane right now. And we're saying, come and take your car. We're still going to negotiate, right? You got an approval, Cappuccino. That time, Udula Kamalamlele. And we say, come and get your car. and then kuwena ola uja msadi uja bana in the taxi you are coming. When we are
They
here,
have that thing of Kamer.
when we are here, do you know what the training of the dealership is? This is basic.
Or
Ask-
Arametilo.
no, ask any salesperson. If they are honest, they will tell you. The moment any man walks into the dealership with a wife and probably with kids, the moment they walk in, even before you take them to the FNI's office, take the wife and the kids and put them inside the car.
Yo, come on, Vitlase.
Yeah, so that they can already imagine themselves and the trips that are
They're
going.
taking pictures. Daddy bought a car.
You have not signed anything. You just arrived. They sit in the car. Mama is already imagining her left seat. Ne?
Check her makeup. Obo direct. Mo san watu hati muli.
My brother, you cannot enter the FNI's office and not sign. How are
You have a
going to-
problem.
How are you going to explain that to your wife?
Babu Taka prime +4 doesn't matter to you.
Forget what the FNI says. Forget what the salesperson says. How are you going to explain all of this?
Daddy, imova ya yena le daddy.
How are you going to tell your child who is excited about this car that no, we're leaving this car?
You'll hear someone's wife are ba mo fonela ra wa re tlo tsia koloi mo Benz.
Yeah. Even before you finish signing, she's already
Re
told
tlo tsia
relatives.
koloi. Agere you already told him that the car is ready.
She's already told people. They have already started taking pictures. While we're not just busy with Sesikakwa, we're taking pictures this side.
But updated is the profile picture.
So how are you explaining that? So the greatest, the number one trick of a salesperson is make sure that the client imagine themselves with this unit before you show them any paperwork, so that at that time half of the work is done. Remember, a lot of people are not rational buyers. We are emotional buyers. So as a salesperson, you need to play to the emotions of people. So the car buying process is 80% emotions and 20% rational. That is a proven fact. So you must make sure that you win them in the 80. If you max the 80, then it's very easy to get the 20. Because at this time, you have already seen yourself driving down Mahuba's Kloof in this thing. So already I've planted this picture in your head to say, oh, you like biking. Yeah. You know, you can hitch on this thing. You can put a trailer for the bikes, put 2 bikes here. You go mountain biking
You're
with your wife.
imagining.
You are already imagining this scenario. I've created a scenario in, oh, you like fishing. Do you play golf? Yeah, I play golf. Do you know you can put the golf club gamo booting and no one will see? You can even take them to work.
The last time they gave it to me for 2 weeks. Bara vaka yona ke demo. E utlwelle.
See how practical.
And that car could ne ku utlwa man. You know when you are on 180,
Yeah.
which is illegal though, then the whole press, it still give you a
It
kick.
still says we're going.
Yeah, then I drove, I went to Velcom and I took pictures to Facebook.
And people congratulated you.
Ke ra sekolo yaka, you know that thing, yeah, no man, guys. Yeah, then that 2 weeks, I called and said, "Ngaloka."
Can I keep this exact one?
They knew they are finished.
No, the decision, you had already made the decision. The day you drove out of the dealership with that car, you were just not aware.
And yafika yamvulela amasango lapha ngiyakhona. Yavula man.
Whenever you go, now with this key, you enter a meeting, you put your key on the table, via leadership. And it's intentional. We are people of status. We are people of emotions.
At a club, man, they get interested.
Even the bottle girls come to you with the bill because they already have seen.
When you are sitting,
We already see.
when it's time to pay, they come to your side.
Yeah, they already know who's leadership. So all of those things play to your emotions. You see, the people that send others to buy cars for them stand better chance of coming out with a car that you originally wanted, because there is no emotional investment for me.
You know, my brother, what you are saying. I have a friend who used to buy cars, but send someone.
Yeah. Wise
Eh?
man.
Always will say, so and so. ke nyaka go le kgopela go bolela le bona. And that guy wouldn't mind staying there the whole day,
Yeah.
saying, Areje.
Yeah. There is no emotional investment.
And he knew that when that guy says, no. Like, and that's why Kere, we never take time to scrutinize the kind of deals that we're signing. The deals, remember, that are going to stay with us for 72 months.
Oh, yes.
But you don't care. And then you have a degree, you're a doctor.
Amen.
But you don't care. Can you imagine that? And then I've seen ke tlohile fruka tlhapa. You know, ngila bona o tlhapela koloi e se hao.
Basadi ba di a le meriri.
Ke tlhapele koloi ke bethe dilo tsa ka ke re e nyaka hempe.
Yeah.
Ne, le ke tsena ka mola ke bona ba re shile ba no come this side. Nothing will stop me from taking that car. Don't tell me about some prime rate trip. No.
What does it make?
What does it mean? I want this car.
How many people can honestly say they took delivery of their car without going past the car first?
My brother, I once bought a car. It was my first Audi, first A4 car, man. That car, it was a dealership from Pretoria.
Yeah.
They brought it to my house around 6-7. We were waiting for it with my then wife.
Yeah.
I don't remember checking anything. I signed. And all I remember is that around 2, they said they need about 40 grand deposit.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem. I wired that money,
Yeah.
sent them a proof of payment. We were waiting. We were asking Lefita guy, but no, we are passing Nabuom, we are passing Mukopani. Already the gate was open.
The excitement. I'm sure now with this in the digital. No, you were dealing with professionals.
Yeah.
You are dealing with people that know the industry, how to play it. There are certain things that you get as part of your training. If you have went to vehicle sales training, you get told. If you are sending a client pictures, for example, there are angles that you need to take the pictures of the car. So that, look, at the end of the day, the intention is to create, you need to get the client to start imagining scenarios in their head. If you can, plant them. If you can, make sure that you show them the possibilities. If it's a young person, right? Let's say your producer, for example, comes in. I need to make a joke about how many girls is going to get pregnant. As part of the conversation. I don't have... You are more roseka.
Already now we imagine one.
He needs to start thinking about the amount of girls that are going to throw themselves on him before we start talking numbers.
And that's why
we have already sized up. Okay, this is because remember all of these things have happened in conversation. I already understand my client is someone who is interested in politics, is a politician, right? And then if I compare you with your comrades, who are doing well, you are there. You are coming to buy your SUV, your X5. Oh no, then go gramo. You will lower with the blue light, blue light the excitement in you. The excitement you start already. You are already imagining.
Come shoot as a rally. Oh, you planned that thing.
If I say to you, no man, between the budget you gave me and this car that is sitting in front of you that you are excited about, there's going to be about 1,500 difference, right? And then you are looking at that thing. before you become rational about it, and I say, ke le bottle le le one la Hennessy, that you're not going to drink this month. You already see, this thing is possible, man.
Ke a ka ndide.
So it means if I sacrifice one bottle of Hennessy, I can drive this thing.
Then you thank God for that such a bad deal.
My leader. And you get to drive a big car. So there are rules to this game, and these are rules that you as the consumer are not aware of. The salesperson who's sitting behind the desk is trained. These are not people that are working in a spaza shop. These are people that are trained professionals on how do you accept a client, how do you receive a client. There are steps. In all of the training manuals, there is something called a 7-step process to a 7-step process to
You know why
selling
ke
cars.
le worried? Khala ke betha ke di bar.
And yeah, unfortunately. So you
No
need
ba
to.
gotlile that means. Bargain. No bargain. But tell me, what should you look at when you buy a second-hand car?
Yeah, second-hand cars are a bit of a tricky situation because there you are fighting shadows. And what I mean by this is what you see on the inside is not always reflected in the inside. Here or reka a used car, this car we receive it, take it to what is called a recon. Recon means if there's a dent, it needs to be fixed. If there's a scratch, it needs to be sealed, right? Many a times the car that you are receiving, you are buying. That's why people would say, if you're going to buy a used car, buy it from a reputable dealership. It's because you are hoping the dealership's reputation will reflect on the car that you're buying.
Like
You don't know how much damage that car sustained before it was given to you.
o reka le hosha o le reke ko establishmenting e sharp.
Yeah.
You are likely I to baba checka.
Yeah, o ska nama wa ya
No reka le hosha fela.
So
A easy dent tsa lo.
you don't know. So what happens is there's going to be makeup that is going to be put in this car. So you don't always know what you're buying. So what you need to check as if you're buying a used car is get time to ask for the service history. Has the car been serviced? It has been serviced. If you can, let's say, go to the manufacturer, ask for a VIN number and go to the manufacturer and get and I'll tell you a story around this. Go to the manufacturer and ask for service record. Then they can pull you service record. Great. Ask, does it still have warranties on it? Does it still have motor plan? And then if those things still exist, great. If they don't, make sure that you buy the car plus extended warranty.
In other words, I just want our viewers to understand us. You ask where they are from South Korea. When did they come to South Africa? How long have they been servicing people? What are they good at? I just want our viewers to understand this thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine your viewers working. But basically that history will always help you. If you can find as detailed a history as possible, it will at least give you that comfort. There is something called a DECRA report. If you can get that one, please do also. It will always give you the full detail of the vehicle. But very important, don't leave the dealership without a warranty. Get extended warranty if you can. This is because the car might break down at any time. If it means getting your own third-party warranties, if they don't have from the dealer, or if you can't get from the dealership, do so. The warranties will always come in by 2 years unlimited kilos or 2 years 60,000 kilos. So always try to get those, more especially if you're going to buy a German car, because German cars are very expensive to maintain. If something is to break, you will regret, because now you're going to end up paying more than 50% or more than 50% of the purchase price just in fixing. I have worked in dealerships where you find a client doesn't even want this car anymore. because the value, like rather just take this
Yeah.
car because it's just too much to fix. So if you can get a warranty, please do. Something very important to address with warranties is when they say 2 year, and this is the confusion people get, 2 year 70, right? So it means this thing is going to expire in 2 years, right? It's either going to expire in exactly 2 years, or if you drive from now on, 70,000. If you don't, it will always say terms and conditions will say 2 years, 60, whichever comes first. So you need to be mindful, but get that when you're buying a used car. I wanted to tell you a story. I get this client who buys a BMW 740i, right? So BMW 740i, for those that know cars, this is an expensive car. They buy it used. When they buy it used, the mileage on that car at the time of purchase was literally 8,000 kilos, right? They buy the car, drive the car, everyone is happy. But what they didn't ask from the dealership is the service history. Only to find that the owner of the car bought the car, this is the first owner. They bought the car, right? Drove it for 8,000 kilos, parked it in their garage, right? And then they were out of South Africa for over 3 years. So that means in BMW's records, that car has been skipping service for 3 years. So according to BMW laws, if a car skips service, it forfeits all its warranties. So you're looking at this car, in nearly 8,000 kilos, it still looks clean. This car is beautiful. But according to BMW, that is no longer a BMW serviceable product.
You must pay cash.
What happens now?
I'll give you a practical example. My Polo, it's out of warrant.
Yeah.
So I took it there the other time, get by service. And now it's cash to pay. And the money they told me I must pay. My brother, I reversed. I told them, because it is not even, when it was under warranty, they didn't even charge me that.
And that is where a lot of people get a shock of their life, because when you were still enjoying the free services, you didn't even care to ask how much is the service. When you still had warranty, you didn't even care to ask how much are these parts that you are replacing.
Now it's time for you.
Now it's time.
And I can imagine for a 740, we are talking a service here, 20 something grand.
Hey, minor services would amount to that sometimes. So imagine major services. You get the BMW, when you remember, we all have this thing out with BMW products. For example, the motor plan is going to be valid for 5 years. But this car missed 3 years of its services. BMW says, we don't know this thing anymore.
And every year, whether it's a mile 3,000 kilometers, it was supposed to go.
It was supposed to go for its annual services so that BMW can still know this thing is in our books. So it has been gone for so long. Now, it has been out of their radar for so long. Now you are bringing it back when you are an excited new user. You're saying, I'm bringing this thing for service. And they look at it and say, where was this car? Yeah. So now it's a problem. So even how this car got to me was the client wants to now trade the car, but no dealership wants to take it. And they don't even tell the client what is the problem.
Now the clients blame you.
No, we can't buy this car. No. Hey, this car, there's something. And then I go to BMW SA and say, give me service history of this car. They give me service history. And somewhere in the service history, BMW, after realizing that this car has skipped service 3 times, they wrote on their service history in big red letters, mileage tampering suspected. So anyone who looks at that car thinks
there's something
is wrong.
No, you can't be doing 8,000 in 3 years.
Why? But the fact of the matter is,
the car was parked.
The car was parked. So now you've got problems. How do you clear that? So now it was a whole matter. Now I have to go spending hours at BMW SA for them to rectify that. I was a regular at BMW South Africa. Literally, I was there every day for about 2 weeks, pleading with them to remove that to remove that warning for the customer to be able to sell that car. And if it wasn't for that, this would be a car that the customer is still stuck with. So those are some of the things that you need to be mindful of whenever you are dealing with the used cars. They are a tricky one. If you can get an uncle who will go there with you, someone who knows about cars will go there with you and be able to look at the paintwork and say there was an accident. Please do. If you can get someone who is knowledgeable about cars, don't take someone who says, I have bought so many cars, I know, just taking chances. Because little where another kitchen coop, chicken coop, because this car, you're going to pack it with the amount of problems you're going to find. So you need to be.
I want us to discuss one last matter, because there's a lot of things about Casman. I love the Range Rover so bad.
Yeah.
Especially the one that came before the latest. And I saw this car, Barke Jaiko. I think it is a Chinese.
It's a Chinese,
brand new. I can pay 6.9 a month. And man, it looks like a Range. I was like, what is with this thing at the Chinese cars? I mean, there's one that is a replica to Jeep, replica to Range Rover, replica to BMWs, and what's going on there? And when you check the monthly payment rates,
they're very low.
And the features, the leather is leather. You sit there and feel they have these heated seats.
Yeah.
They have everything you need, these cars. They can fly, I think. We're just not told.
They've got so many features. They've got air suspension, they've got lane assist. Lane assist, it's a beautiful feature. Like if you introduce that one to anyone, they'll fall in love. You can literally let go of the steering wheel and the car will drive itself in lanes, turning if it has to. Without you touching.
Maybe you are mixing your bottle of Hennessy.
Yes, while the car turns.
Yeah.
On its own. It's a beautiful thing. But here's the other thing, and this is my personal opinion, right? My worry about the Chinese automakers is that this is them infiltrating
the market.
I will give you this. The one popular Japanese brand that we know today, right? Toyota. Toyota, no one wanted to buy a Toyota in the 60s. Go read the history. They will tell you of how Toyota came into the market. They came in as the cheapest bakkies. No one wanted them, right? And then today, you'll be lucky to get a Toyota bakkie that it retails less than 800,000. The same Hilux is a very expensive car. It's because they were finding a way to introduce themselves into the market, gain buyer confidence, and then the prices go up. And that's
market penetration.
Yeah, that's what I suspect is going to happen with these cars. But here's another aspect of the Chinese brands. That's why we see an influx of them now. Most of these Chinese brands are subsidized by the Chinese government.
Oh yeah.
That's how they are able
for now
to
support the companies.
So that's how they are able to keep their prices low. So, but ultimately it's not sustainable. So it means the J-Coup that you are looking at and you are thinking, I can pay for an old Range Rover for 600,000. But you'll find that the real truth behind it is there's 200,000 that is covered by the Chinese government that you are not seeing. So soon as you are now addicted, you have explored this product so well, you are inside it. Now the brand has gained confidence. Yeah. Now it's gonna go back to its original price, and
now you have to service the car, the parts.
But when it comes to that, they've got that covered because now those guys are giving warranty of over 1 million kilos. They say you can drive 1 million kilos. You don't have to worry. We will take care of any engine and gearbox problems. So you can see how they are trying to infiltrate the market by.
To them now, I don't think it's about profit.
No, it's not about profit. Yeah. It's about making sure that there is a lot of consumer experience. Right now, you are looking at it from outside and you are thinking, it looks like a range, but I'm worried about the quality, right? But
Then you
if
drive
they
it.
can, if they can get you to drive that car and change your perception about the product, you will be the ambassador of that product.
Yeah, tla o tlo ra ka se ire selo. Ebile ke faile le Range Rover nngwe ka montsha diamond.
Very soon they won't even have to worry about marketing because there will be so many people doing marketing for them and telling people of how good a quality this thing. Let me show you another. Let me show you another product, right? Not even far. 10 years ago, if you were driving a Mahindra,
Yeah,
10 years ago,
that ugly one.
that ugly one, everyone would be looking at you somehow. Everyone would be giving you a side eye. Go now, go onto the internet now and see if you can find a Mahindra Bolero, the ugly one. Go and see if you can find it. You can't. Not even used. You can't. Why? Because people have experienced the product and they loved it. So now it's a farmer's car. The white farmers are buying that thing and they drive it until it dies in their farms. You can't find a second hand because everyone, but it was cheap. Now look at how much it's an entry level into Mahindra now. You're going to pay more than 300,000 for an entry level Mahindra. So all of those things, the cars that come in as cheap, it's an opportunity for the to change consumer perception. They want you to have that touch and feel. If you touch, experience this thing.
Touch is a go. It's a move.
They know.
A friend of mine got an accident to bought this Haval. Beautiful, well specced. So got an accident, it's written off.
Yeah.
Born. He wants another Haval.
He has experienced the product.
Yeah.
So the fears that we have, and this is, so South Africa and the South African consumer, we are very loyal people to brands.
And the Germans have been controlling us.
And the Germans have been controlling us. That's why I'll give you an example of product that we already know. People, the South African consumer, it doesn't matter how much a Corolla is, they will always buy a Corolla because the Corolla we know. There was a time where Toyota wanted to experiment with it. I think they took out Corolla from their market, right? And then they introduced new things. Then they had to see, they saw very quickly this thing is not sustainable. They had to bring it back because we buy the name. The name that you grew up knowing, it's the name that you will always buy. The reason why
I own the Corolla.
And if you go now into the fleet of Toyota's cars, there is Egos, Yaris, and all of that. Etios and all of that, right? The first thing your brain is going to tell you is buy a Corolla. It's because that's the brand you know. Right now, let me show you this, and this is another interesting topic. Suzuki produces cars, and Toyota rebadges, right? Toyota just puts a badge and then sell the same product.
These are Japanese.
It's the same product. They sell the same product. But if you look at the sales reports of Suzuki and Toyota, you will see that Suzuki sells less units of their product compared to Toyota.
And Toyota is a Suzuki.
The Suzuki calls this car a Suzuki Baleno. Toyota takes it, removes the word Baleno, puts a Toyota, removes the Suzuki badge, put a Toyota badge, puts a Starlet on it. It's the same car, literally. But if you look at the sales report,
same ugly car,
you will see Starlet sells more than the Baleno, but it's the same thing. Suzuki produces, Toyota rebadges and sells, but Toyota does better. Why? Because South Africans trust the Toyota name more than the Suzuki name. That's where we are. But it's the same thing. Right now, South Africa is one of the biggest consumers of the brand GTI.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because throughout our life, we've always had GTI
From
around
car,
us.
there was always a troublesome GTI guy in our cars that
Exactly.
we envied. There
Someone,
was always
he
a
was
doctor
there and we were
with
like,
a GTI who gave us
I
trouble.
want to be like that guy. So that's what happens. So we are more we are consumers who are very brand loyal. So the only way to infiltrate that is get us to experience the product. Then you will be able to change our perception. That's why we are still going to see a lot of Chinese automakers come in. There is a new one that launched last month, Jetua. The Jetua, it came in last month. It's a new brand as
It's
well.
finally.
It's a new brand. They make SUVs, very nice looking SUVs.
Oh, those big
Yeah.
SUVs, yeah.
So JQ, so they're going to be competing in the same JQ, Haval.
Ke yona ke Range Rover ke e nyakang.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
So those ones, they're going to be competing in that segment. There is another one called it's an electric car manufacturer called BYD. BYD Build Your Dreams. So that is the name of the company. Those ones sell pure electric cars, the cheapest electric cars in the market right now. So, and this is because the world is saying, let's go electric. So they are already ahead of the pack, because beside the BYD, I think the cheapest electric car after them is the Mini Cooper, which is not doing very well as well. So you can already see what they're trying to do is to get people to experience their product as much as possible. And then once you are comfortable with that, then
They've got you.
the price goes up.
That's market penetration.
Yeah.
My brother, I want to appreciate that, as a salesperson, like, you are telling people the truth. And I'm also appreciating the fact that you apologized for those you made to sign deals that are really, really bad. Some of them are still trapped even now. But I think you have shared valuable information. Even to me, I could reflect with my personal experiences. And I think I'm not intending on buying any car anytime soon. But the time I buy another car, I think there's a lot of things that I'm going to look at.
Yeah, please.
But thank you for coming. I don't think this is the last time. You need to come and warn us. And also, besides that, tell us about products that you think are good, that you think we can actually go with, and to make sure that our people are protected in advance, but be sharp economically. Thank you for coming to Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
Thank you for having me. It has been a great time chatting with you on camera and off camera. I think cars is something that I'm really passionate about. So if it's an opportunity to talk about cars and give consumer education, I'll take that opportunity anytime, because I still believe that a lot of our people make the mistakes we're making, more especially in this industry, because we don't have the information. So if we could take our time to share the information and the knowledge we have, let's do it. Let's share as much information as we can. It will help someone. There's most of the people that are still stuck in contracts that they are stuck in. Some of them are not even aware they are stuck. And I think that is the worst position to find yourself, when you are stuck but you don't know yet. So it means that the pain is just going to catch you by surprise. So that is something that we need to enlighten each other on. Let's help each other. Those that have experience like yourself, share your stories. Let the people know what car repossession is a reality. And it happens. To all of us.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be ashamed of about it. I mean, everyone's finances change. So
we go through stuff.
We go
take
through stuff,
decisions.
all of us.
Yeah.
You know? So we need to be able to share this information so that our people are enlightened. Our people don't suffocate under debt. Under debt. A lot of people would even consider suicide because when you could have just allowed the bank to repossess their car and you continue living your life,
When you could have just continued to drive your Corolla.
Or you could have, which would have been the easiest thing.
Yeah.
But that is, thank you very much.
No, thanks.
Brother, for having me.
Just to stress on this, don't take your wife and kids to a car dealership. You're likely to sign a bad deal. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks to Bandaras for keeping us going. Thank you, States. Thank you, Dr. Mabota. There's my production team. Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
Buy a car for a purpose. A lot of our people buy cars so that Cappuccino can see. But a lot of German cars do this. A lot of German manufacturers do this. They have something called the poverty spec. So this is where you get a car with a lot of buttons that are not working. Look, the lesser knowledgeable you are, the better in this industry.
The better for them.
Yeah, the better for them.
Not all bad.
Yeah. You cannot go scotch free. You cannot go without being hammered there.
No.
But looking at your statements, you can't afford this car.
How nyoko fa?
How only sharp, bro.
Yeah.
Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
Ke tshwara phone ke re mona o ke neng rule biro ba kreile bana bale a ra ke na le bona bana bale di biro di kreile ya ke di kreile
Yeah.
mara re na le problem
Eish.
smoko no dimense ba re no koloi di e ba tloetse
Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
Declined.
Also.
Yes, you can be declined for that balloon payment as in installments. Meaning what they're gonna say, no, we can't help you with that. You need to pay for it now, or we're going to send our people to fetch that car. Because ultimately it's their car. So
That's why they always have the third key.
they always make sure that the papers are in their name until you have paid them all the money. Then we can part ways.
And that on its own, I think it's something that should ring a bell in terms of our psyche around cars. That the papers are with them in their name,
Yeah.
and they have the third key. It's
not your car until you are done paying for it. So until you are done paying for it, that car will always reflect. I don't know if people have actually taken time to look at their niches. Just get a copy of niches. You will see it, or go to take your VIN number to the traffic department. It will show this: vehicle owner, West Bank; vehicle user, Tumelo Moyaba. So you are the user.
pop.
I'm just the custodian of West Bank's property.
Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino. Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino.
I've heard people say, yeah, nah, those guys about repossessor, if they come and take my car, I will report them to the police. And say what? And say the owner of the car.
No, they'll say whose car?
Whose car?
Whose car are you talking about?
Yeah. No, the owner of the car came and took the car. that is the ultimate truth. But we don't want to face that reality. It's a painful reality. No, this is my car and I'm paying for it. Yeah, you're paying for it. You have borrowed this car from upside.
I know the pain of a car being repossessed.
It's a painful thing.
In my case, it was not even with me. It was being driven by someone else. And then now I would evade.
Yeah.
I would evade them. I knew that I think they can't repossess your car after 5 or 6 evening. I knew some rules, Nyana.
Yeah.
And I would see some dodgy people near my place and make a U-turn. So, and I gave it to someone. That was a long time ago. And the person bamukrites where. Alamunat, give me roomil to get ice, drinks, and to collect some people somewhere.
Yeah.
Hey, they removed them from the car, those people. It was painful.
Just Talk with DJ Cappuccino. Just talk with DJ Cappuccino.
Are in Polokwane right now. And we're saying, come and take your car. We're still going to negotiate, right? You got an approval, Cappuccino. That time, Udula Kamalamlele. And we say, come and get your car. And then Gwena Ola Ujam Sadi Ujabana in the taxi, you are coming. When we are here,
They have that thing of Kamer.
when we are here, do you know what the training of the dealership is? This is basic.
Or
Ask-
Arametilo.
No, ask any salesperson. If they are honest, they will tell you. The moment any man walks into the dealership with a wife and probably with kids, the moment they walk in, even before you take them to the FNI's office, take the wife and the kids and put them inside the car.
Yo, come on, Vitlazi.
Yeah, so that they can already imagine themselves and the trips that are
They're
going.
taking pictures. Daddy bought a car.
You have not signed anything. You just arrived. They sit in the car. Mama is already imagining her left seat. Ne?
Check her makeup. Mo son what?
My brother, you cannot enter the FNI's office and not sign. How are
You have a
going to-
problem
How
there.
are you going to explain that to your wife?
Babutaka prime plus 4 doesn't matter to you.
Forget what the FNI says. Forget what the salesperson says. How are you going to explain all of this?
Daddy, imova ya yena le daddy.
How are you going to tell your child who is excited about this car that no, we are leaving this car?
You'll hear someone's wife are bamufonela ra wa re tlo tsia koloi mo Benz.
Yeah. Even before you finish signing, she's already
Re
told
tlo tsia
relatives.
koloi. Agree, you already told him that the car is ready.
She's already told people. They have already started taking pictures. While we're not busy with Sesikakwa, we are taking pictures this side.
But updated is the profile picture.
So how are you explaining that? So the greatest, the number one trick of a salespeople,
Just talk